Am I back? That was odd. I should be back? Hopefully? Maybe? Hello? Yeah, stream died. I'm back. Okay, cool. Um, yeah, I don't know what that was. OBS just straight up crashed on me. For no particular reason. Uh, like it didn't even give me a reason. It was just, whoops, OBS has crashed. So I guess we'll just keep an eye on that. It's fine, I guess. Well, at least I wasn't in the middle of the D&D recap this time. And last time I don't think it was OBS. I think last time it was my internet. Aha, Randus has redeemed a hydrate and a stretch. Excellent. So here are this week's hexagons. Lots of nice dark blues, purples. It's nice. Good color palette. Coordinated color palette. Good job, dice. I am doing a stretch here. There we go. Everybody else should also stretch and hydrate. Thank you, Randus. Doing the hydrate now. Now, the one thing we'll have to remember mid-recap is that one of these is for May 1st. Which date was that? May 1st was Wednesday? No, Thursday. Thursday. So 1, 2, 3. The fourth one we sew in will be the one for May 1st. And we'll mark that one for later buttoning. Sasha is being a perfect sleepy princess. I mean, I would expect nothing less from her. That is her sort of natural state of being. Ant's dog just crawled into your lap, making it impossible to work on this animation. That is what animals are good for, yes. They just want love, Merlin. Love. Alright. That works. Alright, so it is 11 a.m. My connection seems to have stabilized. OBS is performing. So, when we left off D&D, we had arrived at the inn and found Basil. And, however, the vibes at the inn were off. Like, the vibes were just very weird and sus and generally bad. So we tried to kind of start doing some poking around, and it went badly. Lash got separated from the rest of the group and relieved of their arms and armor. Watkins tried to do some spying and got trapped under a bucket. Because as a reminder, Watkins is currently in the form of a small fey dragon. Well, a fey dragon, but Glint thinks it's an unusually small fey dragon, so we'll go with that. The rest of us were kind of milling around outside and heard weird noises from the stable. And upon investigating the stable, found that some of the ponies were eating the other ponies. Because in fact, they were not ponies at all. They turned out to be some manner of blue drake, which is fun. And all of the noise that we were making drew the 3 cultists that had been in the inn out to us, and combat had ensued. So we picked up this session, still in the midst of that combat, but, luckily kind of at the very tail end of it. So the drakes had been taken down. It was just the 3 cultists still standing. Lash was able to sort of attack the one that was with him in the staircase. Arendelle, now that she was back on her feet, was able to take out the one that had attacked her with, I believe, a nice critical hit crossbow bolt. I believe is how that happened. And then somebody was also able to take out the cultist that Lash had been having discussions with. It was a sneak attack. That's right. I knew it had done massive amounts of damage for some reason. Yes, it was sneak attack damage, not crit. You are correct. Because she had sort of run up the staircase and was peering over or through the banister to fire her crossbow. Yes, thank you. And so that just left Bacchus, who was kind of the big burly melee guy. And between a combination of Bram and I believe Phalar and Basil, we were able to take him out. I remember what it was. So Basil had, when the fighting broke out, Basil had ducked back into the inn to kind of be out of the direct line of fire for, stray lightning, things like that. So they came ducking back in, and upon seeing the cultist that kind of had Lash cornered in the stairway, went running over with his half moon blades, and just kind of like fully scissored the cultist's head off their shoulders, in what I'm sure was a very dashing and cool move, and sent the head sort of flying toward Lash. So of course it was important for the rest of us to pause and ask, like, what does Lash, like, try to catch the head and fumble it? Does he manage to catch it? Does he dodge it? Because that's important character information about how do you react when a severed head comes flying at you in D&D. And Kitte's response for Lash is that because Lash currently has the Storm Axe, he just kind of holds and it's in Great Axe form, he just kind of holds it up and like deflects the head. The head goes bouncing off the flat of the axe. And just kind of like, ew, head. So that just leaves Bacchus, the big burly guy, and a combination of a couple different attacks manages to take him out. However, as he starts to fall over, Phalar and Bram are both close enough and manage to roll high enough on their perception checks. Because Lash had come after the cultist in front of him had been taken out. Lash came running in to help attack Bacchus with, this giant Talos branded great axe. So as Bacchus is slowly collapsing to the floor, he's got like this almost manic, like bloody grin on his face. And Bram and Phalar manage to hear him kind of wheeze out, "It's too late, and now we have the axe." And we're like, okay. Question marks? Concerns. But for the immediate moment, the danger seems to have passed. All three of the cultists that are currently here and attacking us are dead, although we know that at least the blacksmith is unaccounted for. The one that had gone into the kitchen and never returned, is still unaccounted for. But there are no more ponies / drakes, and these three are dead, so for the moment we seem to be okay. So our immediate priorities are: Lash would like to go please get his arms and armor back on, which, fair and reasonable. Basil wants to look for Watkins, which also fair and reasonable. The rest of us are kind of in the camp of, okay, yes, those two things, but also let's do a sweep of the rest of the inn. Because it seems weird that there's only 3 of them. Which means, and the owner of the inn, Mertitia, and potentially others are still, other legitimate employees of the inn are still unaccounted for. Like, we haven't found them, but we haven't found bodies either. So they're probably, they might be around somewhere. So Lash goes upstairs to get his arms and armor back on. And while he's doing that, Phalar and Bram go with him to kind of search the rest of the upper floor. Bram finds a room that looks like it's definitely been lived in. There's, personal belongings scattered about. The bed is unmade. It looks like it's been not just rented for a night or two, but somebody's been living there for a while. And from the clothes and things, the various sizes, Bram can tell that it's someone on the smaller side. So a halfling, a gnome, somebody in that sort of size range. And then the rest of what's upstairs is just kind of guest rooms. There's not really too much else of interest. Unless Phalar found something that I missed. Because, side note, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was our internet. I don't know if it was my computer. Because it seemed like it was just me. Which means I'm inclined to think it was my computer. I was having some audio issues yesterday, wherein my microphone just was refusing to work mostly. And I could, for the most part, hear okay, but occasionally the audio would be cutting in and out. So I may have missed some details on things, so if I do, please let me know. Okay, Phalar didn't find anything. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed anything, because my audio was cutting around then. So once Lash has got his armor back on, the 3 of them head back downstairs. In the meantime, Glint and Basil had been searching the common room for any sign of Watkins whatsoever. But they don't find anything, like not even any like scratch marks or like claw marks, or the bucket is gone off the bar, but they don't find any sort of evidence of where Watkins might be, and he doesn't seem to be here now. So once everybody gets back downstairs, the next order of business is to go check out the kitchen. Again, because I hadn't been here for a couple sessions, I was gonna have Bram go outside and like double check the stables, make sure that the other outbuildings are clear, and it was clarified for me that we were in the stables when we were doing combat, which I had missed. I thought we were in like a courtyard, but there aren't any other outbuildings, so essentially we've already cleared the outside. It's just sort of the inn itself we need to clear. So Phalar heads into the kitchen. Oh, also, just as a note, probably not important whatsoever, it's begun to rain outside, and the rain is kind of slowly but steadily getting harder. I'm sure it's fine and means nothing. So Phalar heads into the kitchen, and the kitchen itself doesn't look like it's been used much recently, like not for actual cooking. There's a door in the opposite wall, and when he goes to check, he finds that there's like a worn path leading away from the door toward the coast, like with clear evidence of footprints, like a lot of footprints both coming and going. So like clearly this has been kind of the main path that however many cultists have been taking to come and go. But there's no sign of anyone immediately in sight. He kind of pokes his head out into the garden, and the garden also shows signs that it hasn't been used in like maybe a month. It hasn't been tended to. There's weeds popping up everywhere. Some of the plants are starting to kind of die off for lack of care. Also, there's a chicken coop, and the chicken coop is completely empty. Like, no chickens whatsoever. But also no signs in the kitchen that they've been cooked. So, TBD, missing chickens. The other thing that he found... Oh, and he also... So the way that it's set up, because it's an inn, is that in the main room, there is a bar, but there's no way to, like, get behind the bar from the main room. You actually have to go into the kitchen, go around, and then there's a door back out into the bar. Just, you know, for security reasons. It makes sense. So, after going into the kitchen, Phalar then also pokes his head back into the bar. Yes, so the lady that owned the inn before these cult people showed up is a lady by the name of Marisha. We met her the last time we were here, and we have not found her yet. So we haven't found her, but we also haven't found her body, so we don't know where she is, correct? So Phalar pokes his head back into the bar, like behind the bar area, and he sees that there's like a disturbance in like the dust under the bar, or like the, I don't know, like the stuff under the bar, where he can kind of tell that Bacchus's lance has been resting there for a very, very long time, like ages and ages. So he's had this spear there forever, and has only just recently like taken it out to use. He also finds the bucket, which is upturned and empty and kind of dented. It has like one, it was described as having one large dent inward, as though somebody had, you know, like hit the bucket, but then also a bunch of like little sharp dents on the inside from where Watkins was clearly trying to like get out and the little dragon was very angry. Yes, so those are both fair points. So the bartender Buckus was also here the last time we were at the inn. So we don't exactly know when he joined the cult. Maybe he's a recent convert, or maybe the cultists have been using this inn as sort of a more covert base for quite a while, because it is conveniently located to the Tower of Storms. Maybe they've been using it as kind of a covert base for quite a while without the owner's knowledge, and only recently sort of decided to take over. We don't know. And also, yes, Buckus said that the owner moved to Neverwinter, so clearly that's what happened. But yeah, we don't have a ton of details yet. As far as like when exactly things started going down. Yeah, so Phalar finds the bucket, but there is no Watkins in the bucket, and still no sign of exactly where Watkins went. The last thing of interest is that there's a trapdoor in the kitchen. And it's a trapdoor that shows signs of being used quite frequently and recently. Like it's not dusty or anything. It's definitely been like opened and closed and used recently. So Phalar's kind of like, huh, seems like that's probably the place to check next. So once we've finished clearing sort of everything else, Lash joins him in the kitchen. And they're smart enough. We're finally... So this party, for all of our dumbass decisions, we're learning about doors. And we're learning, through experience at times, we are learning that doors often hold crossbows on the other side of them. And that we should be kind of cautious when opening doors. Oh, other notes. So while sort of all of this searching was going on, before we get to the trapdoor, there is actually another couple things to cover. So Glint had done a more thorough sweep of the common room after determining that Watkins wasn't there. And she also poked her nose out into what turns out to be the inn's sort of main entrance. Which is like a mud room and a cloak room. So there's like a rack for coats and cloaks and things, and probably like, you know, a boot scraper and like, you know, the sort of stuff that you would usually find in a mud room so that you're not getting the inn completely filthy. So she goes through and investigates the coats that are hanging up there. And she doesn't really find anything interesting, except she finds... in what is presumably probably the blacksmith's coat, she finds another one of the cultist masks and also a light hammer, which is how she kind of intuits that this belongs to the blacksmith, because it is the kind of hammer that you would use for like shaping and smithing metal. So, having found these, she's like, okay, I've got some time, because everybody else is still kind of searching things. So she casts Detect Magic, just to kind of make sure that nothing was missed and see what she can see. And all of the cultist masks that we found light up with a glow, as does the light hammer, and as does Bacchus's spear. Randus just told us above table that the light hammer and the spear are nothing like super impressive or special. They're just +1 weapons. But if we want them, we can take them. But the cultist masks are going to require some further investigation. So Glint sort of gathers them all together in one place and puts them on one of the tables. And is like, hey guys, I found these things. And Phalar is like, okay, cool, we'll take a closer look at them after we've, you know, investigated the basement and made sure that we're completely safe. So those are kind of, put a pin in that. Those are kind of sitting on a table, waiting for us to circle back and investigate more about What makes these cultist masks magic? And how concerned do we need to be? With doors and crossbows, it happened twice, and both times it was because you guys basically announced yourself to the bad guys on the other side of the door. Yes, which we've also done this time as well, which is why we're being cautious. But we have learned. Sort of. So yes, so back to the trapdoor. Oh, and during that time, Glint also casts a spell that lets her basically refresh one of her packed slots, so she gets it back so that she can use it again, which may or may not become relevant. Who knows? But that is a thing she does. So with the trapdoor, Lash gets close enough to kind of like pop it up enough that he can get the butt of his spear under it. And then he's able to sort of circle around and leverage the trapdoor open, so that hopefully we can get a look at whatever's on the other side without exposing any of ourselves to potential crossbow sneak attacks. So he manages to get the trapdoor open with little trouble. And down below we can see that there's a short ladder down. And then there's a landing. So it's not like it's a ladder straight all the way down. There's a short ladder, and then there's a landing, and then there's a staircase that goes down off to the side. And Lash can see sort of a faint glow coming from off to the side where that staircase leads. He can't really tell more than that. So we're like, all right, I guess we're going down. We kind of assemble ourselves into a marching order. Unfortunately, the ladder is an inconvenient length, wherein it's short enough that it's not worth it to spider climb Bram, but at the same time it's a little bit too far for him to jump easily. So I roll an athletics check, and regardless, he is going to take fall damage, which is fine. So he kind of assembles himself at the back of the line, with the thought of, okay, if they get down there and there's nothing in the basement, or like no people or no danger or nothing, then I just won't bother to go down and I'll stay up here, kind of idea. So Lash heads down first, and as Lash kind of creeps down the staircase and pokes his head around the corner, because he wants to try to keep moving forward to make room for the rest of the party coming down behind him, because there really isn't that much room down there. It's just kind of a short, the landing is small, and then it's a short staircase, and then it's like a turn into whatever the main room of the basement is. So there's not a lot of room on like the staircase and at the bottom of the stairs. So Lash wants to keep trying to move forward, to give everybody else room to come down behind him. But as he peeks around the corner into kind of the main room of the basement, he sees some things. Hang on, I need to take a drink for this. Oh, interesting. The athletics check was to hold up your back end while using the ladder like someone without a pony's ass. Interesting. Yeah, I failed it miserably. But is what it is. Poor Bram. It just occurred to me we're gonna have to figure out how to get him out of the basement. But that's a problem for 2 weeks from now. It's fine. That, yeah, it's fine. We'll figure that out later. We don't need to be out of the basement yet. So as Lash peers around the corner into the main room of the basement, he sees a lot of things. Let's see, how do I want to take this in coherent order? So it's not a super big room. It's about what you would expect of a basement for an inn. There's rows of wine barrels, or like, you know, wine or mead or some kind of alcohol barrels lined up against both side walls. Probably like 10 or 12 of them total, you know, five or six ish lined up on each side. There is in the back corner, there is Mauricia. So we have found the owner of the inn. She is tied up, bound and gagged kind of thing. Looks like she's been in that condition for a while, and also looks roughed up. Like, she's still alive, but she's not in great shape. But she is still alive for the moment. There is more immediately. There is the blacksmith, the person that had gone into the kitchen, and not come back. Presumably had gone downstairs, and here she is. So she is just kind of standing in the middle of the room, gazing up at a very large statue. And the statue looks like it was made originally in the image of Talos. It's sort of a tall, powerful male figure that has lightning bolts inscribed in the chest of the armor. And those lightning bolts in the chest are starting to are glowing a faint blue. There are so the statue looks like it was originally made in the image of Talos, but the head looks like it's had some modifications done to it, because the head now has much more draconic features. And there are also the three lightning bolts of Talos sort of carved into the forehead of the statue. The head that's now looking much more draconic. Like, it now overall looks much more like a dragonborn kind of thing. It's a very big statue. At the feet of it, sort of almost in between the statue's feet, there is the body of a halfling. And unfortunately, this halfling is very dead. Randus mentioned it looked like they had been dead for probably 10 to 12 hours at this point. And Lash doesn't recognize them immediately, but those of us that have been here before, when we get the chance, are able to recognize this halfling as this was who was providing the entertainment the last time we were here. So this is the halfling that was living upstairs in the room that Bram found. And they have now unfortunately been sacrificed as part of whatever this ritual is. There are also multiple chicken corpses around. Like, there's a whole pile of sort of bloody, feathery chicken corpses in the corner. Spoiler, Watkins is under the chicken corpses. Bound and gagged, but presumably fine. Just buried under chickens. Which is why we don't find him immediately. That is a slight spoiler. But we do find him eventually. Watkins is so the room is kind of a rectangle. In this back corner is where Mauricia is tied up and sort of bound. In this corner, there's a whole pile of chicken corpses, and Watkins has kind of been thrown in with the chicken corpses. Yeah, it's fine. Just it's fine. It's a comfy pile. There's plenty of feathers. Um, but we don't know that yet. We just see sort of the pile of chicken corpses. Um, and then I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I don't think so. There's candles in various places around the room that are starting to like burn really, really low. Um, so that's the another indication that the blacksmith has been down here for a while conducting whatever this ritual is. Um, and as Lash comes around the corner, the statue's head pivots to look straight at Lash. And Lash is able to go, "Oh fuck," loud enough that it thankfully alerts the rest of the party behind him to the fact that something is going on. So at that point we roll initiative. It's definitely just the blacksmith that we have to worry about, right? Right. Definitely just her. Just one more cultist to deal with and then we're done. So we all get into initiative. Interestingly, and I guess it works out for the better, Bram and Basil are actually both still up in the kitchen at this point. Neither of them had the chance to make it down the ladder yet. And they both roll horribly in initiative and end up at the end of the initiative order, both of them. Which I guess turns out to be for the better because they're at the back of the line anyway. So Lash actually gets to go the lowest CR of the cultists at that. Yeah, absolutely. This will be easy. We'll just have to take her out. Maybe we can like capture her and question her and it'll be fine. It'll be super easy. So Lash uses the giant might thing that he has access to make himself large. And as a side note, I am very amused at the fact that we have now had multiple instances of large Lash and small Bram. And Bram has yet to get to make himself large. It's fine. I did actually mostly take enlarge reduce. Well, I didn't take it. It was given to me as part of my oath, and it very much amuses me that it was included in the oath because, you know, oath to a dragon god, making self large. This works well, and I have used it entirely as a utility spell to make Bram fit into places. It's fine. It's fine. Someday we'll be in a nice wide open field again, and Bram will get to be big. Someday. That's definitely a thing that'll happen someday. So Lash makes himself large. Being big did not really work out for Lash. I mean, it didn't not work out for Lash. It seems fine. It was a good idea. A good idea, especially since at this point, so Lash is the only one that actually sees the statue move. So for the first round of combat, Lash is the only one aware that the statue may be a threat. Because he's the only one that saw it move. Everybody else came around the corner kind of after that, and Lash doesn't get the chance to tell anybody. Yeah, exactly. Bahamut's like, here, I give you this spell so you can get swole. And Bram's like, but what if I just use it to fit more places? Yeah, exactly. It's fine. So Phalar and Glint and Arendelle come around the corner, and they all immediately just see the blacksmith as the threat. So shots are taken. The blacksmith is stabbed. A bunch, honestly. Yeah, so technically Lash does have a chance to tell the others that the statue might be a threat, but he's currently on the theory that it might be bound to the blacksmith, and that killing the blacksmith would, I guess, disenchant the statue. Which is a fair theory. So everybody comes sort of piling in and attacks the blacksmith. She gets stabbed. For, you know, a bunch of HP between several attacks. And then her turn comes up, and she spies the Storm Axe in its hand axe form, hanging from Lash's belt, and she makes a grab for it. Because despite the warning that Randus tried to give us through Bacchus's words, none of us thought to have Lash leave the axe, like, upstairs or anything. He's still got it hanging on his belt. So, the blacksmith makes a grab for it. There is a bit of a tussle, in which Kite rolls some dice. Kite rolls fairly well, but the blacksmith rolls better, and she is able to yank the Storm Axe away from away from Lash. I'm just so used to talking about Bram. She manages to yank the Storm Axe away, and she sort of holds it up behind her toward the statue, and it slowly starts to enlarge to match the size of the statue, and Lash finds himself suddenly forcibly unattuned to this axe. Almost as if it had, found its rightful owner? Question mark? I'm sure it's fine. So Basil comes running down. And I'm trying to remember exactly the order this happened in. At some point along here, somebody makes another attack toward the blacksmith, and it hits and does a fair amount of damage, and an insight check is rolled, and the person that made the attack is like, that should have been lethal damage. Like, I'm almost certain, based on how she looks, like she's clearly bloodied and very injured, that hit I just did should have been lethal. And then somebody else makes an attack, and again, this one hits and does damage, and yet she still stays on her feet. And at this point, there's like a pulse, and you can almost see like a purplish light sort of pulsing back and forth between her and the statue, almost as if it's like some kind of a tether. Yeah, so Lash's thoughts were not wrong, they were just backwards. The statue isn't bound to the blacksmith is bound to the statue. So, we can hit the blacksmith all we want, she's not going to die while the statue is still animated, awake, up, however you want to term that for a weird possessed statue. So Bram is last of the party members in the turn order. He jumps down from the top of the ladder. Probably like, twists an ankle or something, takes a little fall damage. Manages to get himself back up on his feet, uses his action to dash to actually get down the stairs and into the room, manages to get up to beside the blacksmith and both the blacksmith and the statue. But because he used his action to dash, he doesn't have anything left to even try an attack. So has to end his turn there. But at least now we are all in the room. And then it's the statue's turn. And at the beginning of the statue's turn, it sends out, I guess, like a pulse or a sphere of lightning, like directly around itself. So anyone within 5 feet of the statue has to make a dex save. And anyone that doesn't takes some damage. Which, you know, it's fine. Bram didn't need those hit points anyway. And then the statue sort of turns to look at Bram. We're all very well aware that the statue is now a threat. And it attempts to headbutt Bram. The headbutt misses. However, then it sort of uses the axe to make some blade attacks. Several of those hit. I believe 2 of them hit. 2 of them hit, and then Lash is able to use Runic Shield to force a reroll on the last one, so that one changes at least from a hit to a miss. So that's at least something. However, the 2 hits still do, I think it's 28 points of damage, bringing Bram straight back down to single digits. After they had done a little bit of healing upstairs, I should mention, while we were still searching the rest of the inn. Various people did a little bit of healing. So Arendelle is now up higher than she was. Bram had gotten back a little bit of HP thanks to Glint, etc. But these blade attacks now immediately knock Bram back down to single digits. Over the next few rounds, various people attack the statue in various ways, and we start learning things. So we learn that this statue, so we learn very quickly, the information is passed. Don't bother attacking the blacksmith, concentrate on the statue, on trying to take the statue out. Another thing of note, so when the statue let loose that sort of spherical pulse of lightning at the start of its turn, it hits the party members that are in 5 feet of him. It also hits the wine barrels that are beside him. Or, alcohol barrels, whatever kind of alcohol it is. It hits the alcohol barrels. And they start smoking a tiny little bit. It's probably fine. Smoking barrels of alcohol in an enclosed basement is never a problem. So that's a thing. With also Randus making a very casual mention of, oh yeah, I should keep track of the charges on those. Which is fine. That's nothing for us to be concerned about whatsoever. So we start hitting. Oh yeah, so the hits from the slashing, or from the blade attacks from the statue, do 2d4 plus 4 base attack plus 1d12 because it has the axe. So if we had left the axe upstairs, or if we didn't have the axe at all and it had never been able to get a hold of the axe, it would do 1d12 less damage. I'm gonna guess though. Well, okay, I'll save that speculation for the end. So, various people try attacking the statue in various ways. We learn that it is completely immune to piercing damage when Phalar tries to rapier it, which, you know what, that somewhat makes sense. It's made of rocks. Trying to stab a rock with a pointy needle doesn't usually do much, so fair enough. Basil chucks a couple bone daggers at it, and we learn that it's also immune to poison, which, okay, fine. It's a rock statue. It's technically not alive. I guess it makes sense that it's immune to poison. Sure. We learn that fire is neutral. It takes regular damage from fire, which is good considering that Phalar and Glint both tend to love fire damage. Although we also learned during this fight that Phalar has diversified a little bit. After we fought Mormusk in the mines and he turned out to be completely immune to fire, Phalar kind of looked at his own kit and went, oh crap, fire is mostly what I do. And so he diversified out a little bit and has learned Chromatic Orb, which allows him to pick various damage types to kind of diversify a bit and mitigate some of the oh crap, immune to fire. Yeah, piercing for the headbutt is interesting, but it makes sense. Yeah, my guess would be that it's because it's a draconic statue with like horns and things. Getting headbutt with those probably does do piercing. That would be my guess as well. That seems logical. So fire does regular damage. We find that slashing, so when it gets back around to lash, unfortunately because the blacksmith is standing in the way, Big Lash can't quite get to the statue. Can't get in melee range of the statue. And so he has to drop his shield and sword and instead pull out his spear, or his lance. No, it's a spear. No, it's a glaive. That's what it is. I'm like, I know he has a long bladey thing, but the distinction is actually important. It's a glaive. So he's able to kind of reach over the blacksmith's head to slash at the statue using that. So we learned that the statue takes half damage from slashing, which is, I guess, still better than being immune. And we also learn when Phalar whacks it with the glass staff that it takes double damage from bludgeoning, which again, it's a stone statue. That kind of makes sense. If you smash stone, the stone is going to start to crack and shatter more than it would if you're trying to like pierce it or slash it. So that's somewhat logical. So okay, cool, bludgeoning damage. Now, through all of this, Bram has been so his first thought is, okay, it's a statue made by a draconic / Talos cult. It looks like a dragonborn, kind of. I wonder if this counts as a dragon? ? So he does pull out the Dragon Slayer sword, and attempts to slash at it twice and misses both times. And then on his next round of combat does manage to slash it, and it takes half the slashing damage, which we already knew from when Lash had hit it with his glaive. But unfortunately, it does not take the extra dragon damage. It does not count as a dragon. So Bram spends like half a second pouting. And then, because we've already learned from Phalar smacking it with the glass staff that it is weak to bludgeoning, Bram goes, okay, fine. If it's not going to take the extra damage from my Dragon Slayer sword, and it's going to take half the slashing damage, I'm just not going to bother with the sword. I'm going to kick it. Because Bram's hooves deal bludgeoning damage, and because they're hooves, they deal extra damage on top of what like a normal unarmed strike would do. So like Bram can punch you, and do the regular unarmed striking damage. Or he can kick you with his hooves and do extra damage because they're hooves and it's a horse kick. I take slight beef with the fact that there's no distinction between if he rears up and kicks with front hooves or if he turns around and kicks out with his back hooves. I feel like that kicking with the back hooves should in fact do even more extra damage. But it's fine. I know these rules were not designed with centaurs in mind. It's fine. And it doesn't come up that often. It would just be nice. So Bram tries to do a kick and whiffs it completely. It's fine. Yes, that's also a good point that I had forgotten to mention. So we are still exhausted. We're still only everyone except Basil. We're still only level 1 exhaustion. But yeah, the way that exhaustion works in D&D for anyone that's not familiar with it is that it subtracts 2 anytime you roll a D20. So that's if you're rolling to attack, you get a -2 off of whatever you roll. You still get all your bonuses, but you get a -2 for the exhaustion. If you're rolling a check, so like if you're rolling to do a performance check or a deception check or something like that, then it also gets a -2 to those. Oh, a -5 to speed. I didn't actually know that. There's a chance Bram might have moved a little bit too far in that first round of combat, but whatever. It is what it is. I think it's fine. I think he still would have been able to get to where he got to. And too late to retcon now, but I actually did not realize that the exhaustion came with a speed penalty as well. But again, is what it is. I think Randus had your movement right. No, because Randus was saying 30. Bram's base is 40. Based on what Randus just said, it should have been 35. Which, again, I think I still would have been able to get to where I got to. But whatever. Again, is what it is. I will try to remember for next time. We had so much going on in this fight as far as like negatives and positives and adding and subtracting dice. It's mildly ridiculous. I'm surprised we didn't make more mistakes than we did. But again, that's part of the game. That's part of the game. You just kind of roll with it. So yeah, we all had exhaustion except Basil, which was definitely doing some work as far as missing things. It does not count for damage dice because it only counts on D20 rolls. So if you do manage to hit your attack and you're rolling, say, your D8 damage, that's all completely normal. You don't subtract anything from those. So yeah, Bram tries to kick, misses. His next round of combat, he tries to kick twice again and misses both times again. So I never actually got to kick the statue, and I'm very sad. I will also note his first round of combat, he briefly considered, because he was sort of the furthest forward, sort of to the side of where the statue was. He briefly considered if Mauricia, the tavern owner, had been awake, he was gonna go over and try to untie her and tell her to escape. If she was well enough to join into the fight, that would have been fantastic, but as roughed up as she was, Bram's concern would have been, hey, if you get a chance, try to run, get out of here. But unfortunately, even just glancing over, Bram was able to tell that she was completely unconscious. So he didn't even try. Like, unfortunately, that did not work out. So while all of this was going on, while all of these attacks were happening, and we were all kind of, trying to figure out how to fight this statue thing, Glint Oh, I will also note at one point, while discussing the statue, at one point, Arendelle throws, because she realizes that, okay, her crossbow isn't doing anything because it's immune to piercing. So what else does she have access to? So she throws a couple psychic blades at it, and the psychic blades hit, and it takes full damage from psychic damage. It's not weak to it, but it's not resistant to it either. It's taking like the flat, full amount of damage. So we're like, okay, cool. It does take psychic damage somehow. It's fine. Don't think about it too hard. So while all of this is going on, Glint has been doing the Lord's work as a support DPS. She casts Bane on both the blacksmith and the statue. Both of them manage to fail their charisma checks because, surprise, surprise, charisma does not seem to be either of their strong suits. So Bane takes hold on both of them. And what Bane does is anytime they have to roll a d20, they also have to roll a d4, and they'll subtract that d4 from whatever they roll. So Bane was doing the Lord's work this fight because there were several times where either the blacksmith or the statue would have been able to hit us and do large amounts of damage, except for the Bane dice that made it drop just enough that it either missed or wasn't a crit, or, you know, it's amazing. Because basically, Bane guarantees no crits. Because even if you roll a 20, you then have to subtract... I believe that's how it works, Randus. Even if you roll a 20, it doesn't count as a crit anymore because you have to subtract the Bane die? Or does it still count as a crit? Oh, it does not work that way? Boo. I feel like it should, but boo. A crit is a crit. Ah, dang it. Oh well. It would be cool if it worked that way, but fair enough. Although I'm guessing... So wait, how does that work? So if you roll a 20, but then say you roll a 4 on the Bane die, that brings it down to a 16, and that would have been a miss. So how does that work? Or is a crit just auto hit and the Bane die doesn't matter? It feels like a nat 20 always hits. Alright. It feels like it shouldn't work that way, but okay, fair enough. I suppose a nat 20 is rare enough that it gets special treatment. I guess if it was the other way around and it was like the player character rolling a nat 20 and then, oh, nope, sorry, you have Bane, that would feel bad. So I guess it does make sense. And it you know, obviously it has to be applied equally across the board. I guess that makes sense. Oh, and that's true. And then with level 1 of exhaustion, the players would never crit. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, bye, Merlin. Take care of yourself. Yeah, have a good day. I hope everything goes good for you today. Have a good day. Yeah, no, that's fair. The original point of the crit rule is you must always be able to deal damage. Previous editions had separate rules for whether you did multiple damage after that. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess laying out all of the contingencies, that makes sense. Okay. So, but yes, in any case, Bane is still doing quite well for us in trying to make sure things don't hit. Especially since the blacksmith is rolling most of her attacks with advantage. Because she's bloodied at this point. I mean, she's at 1 HP. We keep hitting her. But she stays at 1 HP because of the tether to the statue. So because she's bloodied, she's rolling her attacks with advantage. So the Bane is doing quite well there. Glint also does a bunch of misty stepping around the room She Misty steps over to Bram to restore some HP to him. Well, not to restore some HP, but to give him some temporary hit points, which do actually help stave off the next attack that comes at him. She also does actually throw a Cure Wounds at him as well. And then at one point, she's also able to do a step that deals psychic damage, and almost accidentally kills Marisha, our NPC, but then realizes in time, oh crap, no, that's not what I want to do. Glint actually would try to avoid that because she can choose whether the damage happens at the point she jumps away or the point that she lands. So Randus lets her retcon very slightly and switch it so that it deals damage at the point that she lands instead of the point where she takes off, so that she's not hitting the NPC, which we very much appreciate, because Bram would have been very angry about that. Oh right, and the statue's axe attacks are also at advantage because there's a storm outside. Yes, that I had forgotten that, actually. Thank you. So yeah, there was a lot of dice rolling happening. Bane was doing a lot to make sure that those attacks didn't completely destroy us. At one point, Glint is sort of almost behind the statue, because she had popped over there to try to heal Bram. And on the statue's next turn, it sort of rotates itself around and whacks Glint several times, and Glint goes down. And however, so Bram, again, I mostly explain things from Bram's point of view because that's where I am. Bram saw Glint go down and just kind of started doing the mental recalculations of like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to try to get over to her, like I need to get her back up, like this is not good. And then, but Glint's turn came before Bram's. So on Glint's turn, she has a item called a Periaptive Wound Closure, which is a nifty little magic item she's attuned to that means at the start of her turn, if she's unconscious, she automatically stabilizes. So she automatically stabilizes, but Randus has her roll her quote-unquote death save anyway, because if she rolls a nat 20, then she's able to, like, she miraculously restores 1 HP and is able to get conscious again, which is how it works if you roll a nat 20 on a death save. The opposite of that is if you roll a nat 1 on a death save, you automatically fail 2. So instead of failing 1 death save, if you roll a nat 1, you failed 2. Which, you know, definitely didn't happen to Light a while ago. Definitely not. I don't believe a nat 1 on Glint's roll would have done anything because she's already stabilized. She's only rolling for the nat 20 chance. But so she rolls her quote-unquote death save, and she has advantage because she has Mint with her. And she does in fact roll a nat 20. So she not only stabilizes herself, she gets 1 HP back. I guess Tamora took pity on her that day. She gets 1 HP back and wakes up, finds herself sort of staring over into the corner, and with her passive perception manages to sort of, one of those things where you like notice something in the back of your mind or out of the corner of your eye, and your brain kind of subconsciously makes a note of it, but then you don't actually think about it until later. So when she wakes up on the floor, her brain kind of subconsciously notes that over in the pile of chicken corpses, like, oh, there's some blue scales in there and like maybe the tip of a tail like hanging out of the pile. Okay, but like doesn't consciously process it at that moment. So she does know where Watkins is. Or at least knows that there is some sort of a small blue lizard in amongst the pile of chicken corpses. But there's no time to deal with that now. There is still a statue to worry about. So she gets back to her feet and basically pops back to the other side of the room so that she is out of smacking range. Which, you know what? Totally fair. And then, at that point, it gets back around to Basil. And Basil has, tried the bone blades, and poison and piercing don't work. So Basil goes in with their half moon blades to cast Booming Blade. And the statue takes double damage from thunder. Which Randus made a note that, like, he expected us to have discovered that one, like, way earlier in the fight. Because usually the first thing Phalar does is cast Booming Blade. But no, Phalar had decided to go with, like, Green Flame Blade so that it would bounce between the two enemies and, smacking things. So we hadn't actually gotten around to Booming Blade until Basil does it. And we're able to smack the dragon for a bunch of damage. Or smack the statue, I guess, for a bunch of damage. It is not a dragon. Bram tries one last time to kick it and totally doesn't manage to kick it. And then I believe it is Arendelle throwing her psychic blades again that finally does the statue in. Although I should mention, on its last turn, the dragon has done its little sphere of lightning every turn, and it has also done damage to not only the party members but also the wine casks around it. And on its last turn, it does enough damage to the wine barrels that the three beside it have burst open, spilling their contents across the ground. And Randus gave us a very firm warning. Hey, any sparks and any fire, this place is gonna go up like a tinderbox. So, not only is that a warning for us not to use any fire or anything, but also if it gets back around to the statue's turn again, without us killing it, and it does that sparky sphere of lightning again, this entire room is going to ignite. So we are now suddenly on a 1-turn clock. So that's, fine. That's not anxiety inducing at all. But I do believe it is Arendelle's psychic blades. She throws another couple at it. And manages, I think, a crit. And that is what finally takes the statue down. However, as the statue is sort of crumbling apart, it's a very large statue. So as it cracks and starts coming apart, it's sort of raining chunks of heavy stone down around itself, including onto the heads of anyone within 5 feet of it. So, Bram and Phalar, and also the blacksmith need to make saving throws to try to get out of the way of these falling chunks of metal, or falling chunks of stone, rather. And the blacksmith doesn't manage it, so she gets hit on the head by a chunk of stone, and because she was at 1 HP and her statue tether is now dead, she just immediately dies, which is fine, honestly. And that is that. we managed to take out the statue. It is noted that the axe is still very large. It's still at the size that it was when the statue was wielding it, and it's still kind of like clutched in the now inanimate stone hand. So, A, something tells me we're not getting that axe back. Although B, something tells me we don't really want that axe back. And C, we probably should, like, dispose of the axe somehow to make sure that nobody else gets a hold of it. Question mark TBD. But at that point, it was already, like, after 4. So that is where we called session. So we've done none of the, like, cleanup or investigation, like literally we hit the last round of combat, and we're all kind of standing there panting, and there's like a to be continued scroll across the screen. Like, we haven't even like said anything yet. So that's where we'll pick up next session, with the immediate aftermath of this battle, and kind of taking stock of, oh crap, what next. But yeah, so yeah, could return it to the tower. So that was the thought I had earlier, Randus. So my guess is that, so say when we were at the tower before, we either completely missed the axe or we decided not to pick up the axe. My guess is that then it would be in the cultist's possession and the statue would already have it when we came down here. Would be my guess of how things would turn out. It was just interesting luck that not only did we pick it up at the tower, but we had it with us. And also, we brought it down into the basement when, in hindsight, we clearly should not have. I'm not wrong. Yeah, that was... because clearly there's been cultists back and forth to the tower since the dragon appeared. Even though we killed sort of the one that had been stationed at the tower. So my guess would be if we had left it there, that they would have come across it and been like, oh, cool, let's equip this to this statue that we're animating in the basement of this tavern, or the basement of this inn. And so when we got down here, the statue would just already have it. It makes a logical sense. But yeah, it was a hell of a session. That was actually a really, really fun combat. I don't think I got to say it in session because my mic was acting up so much, but that was actually a really fun combat session. Despite Bram missing more than half of his attacks, which was only partially the exhaustion, a lot of it was just, I could not roll to save my life yesterday. I was telling Kara after the stream, I think my dice are broken, because I was rolling like 4 different dice, and on all of them, I was either rolling like 18, 19, or I was rolling single digits. Like, the numbers 11 through 16 just do not seem to exist on my dice. It's the weirdest thing. Funny story, this is technically a different sect of the Cult of Talos than the Half-Orcs. No, that does make sense. Because the Half-Orcs are like a pure Cult of Talos, whereas these have been influenced by the dragon. So it makes sense that they're technically a different sect. Whether or not the two sects would get along is anyone's question. But yeah, that makes sense to me. But yeah, so that was a hell of a session, and we'll pick up in 2 weeks with the sort of aftermath and cleanup. That was a long recap, but there was a lot that happened yesterday. Oh, even before the dragon's influence, this was technically a different sect. Interesting. I guess that also makes sense. They're pretty far removed from each other geographically. Cults like that splinter all the time. that was a heck of a long recap. I'm gonna finish up this seam and then probably take my break. Having a fight where Glint was able to squint and go, use all the teleports, felt really good. Yeah, fair. But yeah, Randus made mention of the fact that, so this basement encounter can be very different depending on, like, how quickly you go down into the basement. And, of course, whether or not you have the axe, or whether or not the statue has the axe. And we just managed to wander down with the worst possible configuration. Wherein, you know, the statue was fully finished and animate, and then also we gave it the axe. Not the worst. You could have taken a long rest and let it out of the basement to fight it with along with the earlier cultists. Oh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That would have been annoying. It would have given us more room to maneuver. But yeah, it also would have been annoying if there had been more enemies to contend with all at the same time. And now, because it's afternoon, like I said, that was a long recap. I will be taking a break here in a minute, but reminder to anyone, if you need to grab food, do so. Please eat a thing. Dobby, I saw that you're getting a burger. That is excellent. Also, hello, Kuma. I did see you pop in. Slow morning at Casa Kuma seems like it would be an alright thing. Sundays are for Eepy. Time for leftover taco. Ooh, that sounds tasty. Tacos are excellent. Enjoy leftover taco. yeah, when Randus had said last recap that there were 3 encounters planned for the inn, I assumed there would be something in the basement. I did not have animate Talos statue on my bingo card. But that was a really cool fight. Like I said, even if Bram himself performed abysmally, that was a cool fight. Somewhere there's an alternate universe where Bram rolled better and managed to kick the statue to death. Or is it a burrito because you're using a 12-inch shell? I think it depends on how you wrap it. Like, is it still kind of like folded in half like a taco, or are you like, you know, folding all of the things in? Oh, but just with taco fillings. Oh, interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's both at the same time. Maybe you have Schrodinger's burrito. Is it the shell that makes the taco, or is it the fillings? I don't know that I'm qualified to answer this question. Rolled with both ends open. See, that still sounds like a taco to me. But again, I'm not sure I'm qualified. That's a wrap then? Maybe. But with like taco stuff in it. Taco wrap. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright. There we go. I'm gonna go take my break. Everybody else get up, stretch, move around, run to the bathroom if you need to, grab refills on your drinks, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Yes, I did unmute. Excellent. All right. Hello, welcome back. Just have a little bit more left to do on this week's. A melodica has been uncovered in the house, and there are now 2 very avid melodica apprentices in the household. Oh, excellent. That's exciting. It's always nice to have a house full of music. Think violin lessons, but with a piano/harmonica. Ooh, excellent. That does sound fun. Sounds very fun and not at all like it would hurt your ears at all. Come on, thread. Really, Kuma, this sounds like your fault for allowing a melodica into the house at all. I don't even have children, and I know this is how children work. Oh no, definitely not your fault. Okay. I see. Man, that sounds way cooler than any of the instruments I had access to in high school. We had like mandatory recorder lessons in like, I think grades like 3 and 4, just to kind of introduce children to the concept of making music. And I actually remember I quite liked the recorder. And then in high school, I only kind of had access to like the sort of typical instruments. I ended up playing flute for lack of anything more interesting. If I could have kept playing recorder in high school, I might have. I actually really like the sound of a recorder. It's pretty. And much easier to play than a damn flute. Did choir instead of band. Yeah, I think so from what I'm trying to remember, in junior high, I believe choir was required, but band was optional. And I was not quite pressured, but like heavily encouraged to take band. Because like all of the overachievers took band, right? So I did end up taking band and ended up with flute. Then in high school, I changed schools. And I don't believe either choir or band was required for my high school, so I don't think I took either. I took... okay, so I think it was in the high school that I went to, you could choose either choir, band, or fine arts, so like visual arts, and you had to do one of them. And I ended up doing the visual arts track as opposed to the musical arts. Recorder is meant to be introduction instrument to woodwind, not oboe, but heck, I forget what it is. Clarinet. I think you mean clarinet? order is clarinet at home. I mean, you're not wrong, no. All right. And then we want to make sure we mark. So first, so 1, 2, 3. So this one would be our May 1st. So mark it so that when we come around again, we will, when we take the paper out of this one, we will put a button on. I think that's a neat idea. There we go. So there are all of this week's hexagons. Neat. Now, I think rather than switching over and doing quilting, I think I'm just going to keep going with hexagons here because I have this other one I'm working on that's all the different batiks. So I think I'll just keep working on that one. Ah yes, the eternal mystery of batiks. Which is the right side? We just don't know. Luckily with most batiks, the answer is either really obvious or it doesn't matter, pick which side you think looks better. The method of dyeing batiks doesn't really leave a right side and a wrong side depending on what colors you're using. Yeah, exactly. The one that isn't on the left, so therefore is clearly the right side. Obviously. Interesting. Unrelated to anything, but I hate how the specific combination of specifically my stream and your PC seems to produce a very quiet sound. Other streams are fine. Our streams, like my streams on other devices, are fine. Just that combination. Weird. I wonder if maybe... Because there is a fair amount of background noise in my stream, and I try to minimize it as much as I can. I'm wondering... Oh, like the sound level itself is quiet, or like there's an extra sound. Because I'm wondering if maybe there's like a specific frequency of like traffic noise or something that is coming through on your PC speakers, but maybe not other device speakers for you if it's like an extra sound. I mean, to be fair, Kara, we have to crank the soundbar up for any Twitch streams. Everything is quiet. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if that's a setting in OBS or a setting in Twitch somewhere. I don't know how to fix that. I'll have to try to look into that. Because, yeah, you're not the first person to say that. But I don't know how to fix that. So I'll have to see if I can do some research. You fix that by us turning up the volume. I mean, yeah. But, like, if I'm particularly quiet, even compared to other Twitch streams, then that seems to indicate there is something on my end I could do to like normalize it to the rest of whatever Twitch does, but I don't know what that thing is. When I switched headset from your phone to your PC, even on Macs, I'm very quiet to the point where now I'm watching and chatting on PC while listening from your phone. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why that would be. That does seem very strange. Let me do a quick poke here. Yeah, I'll have to do some searching. I don't see an immediate... Huh. We'd have to spend a text stream to solve it, probably. OBS is being weird, or Windows inputs are being weird. Merlin 2 so just from a quick search, it seems to be a thing that a lot of people say about Twitch in general. that Twitch itself, any streamer is just extremely quiet, and then the audio ads are extremely loud. So it seems to be, it's like a Twitch thing where it's just, yeah, Twitch doesn't play things at a correct volume. I could try to fool around and fix it a little bit, but I don't see an immediate easy one. But it's strange that that for you, Dobby, it's only happening on one of your devices. That is interesting. I wonder if maybe the Twitch app on your phone is coded in a different way, and that's why? That's the only thing I can think of. Using the website on phone, don't have the app installed. Interesting. You'd think the issue would replicate in that regard then. That's so weird. Don't have that issue with other streamers. Huh. Oh, in the United States, having ads louder than the content is illegal now? Oh, weird. Because it still, like, blasts us out up here. Anytime I run ads, I hear Kara go, ah! Because it, like, the volume on the ads is cranked up. See if I can find anything else. Okay. That's a YouTube video I'm not going to listen to right now. Yeah, I'll figure it out later. Aha! I mean, I suppose that would... I mean, I'm still going to be quiet regardless. I am seeing a result with something about noise filters that might help. But it's in a YouTube video, so I'm not going to mess with things right now. Anime Kitty. Good morning. I see. Board Game Arena so that Randus doesn't have to listen. Fair. And yes, I will go do Board Game Arena once I'm finished this scene. I just don't like leaving a loose needle dangling about. Especially when I'm going to be getting up out of my seat and moving around. let us pivot to board games. Paper World. Whatever that is looks fun. Alright, let me see here. Let me just pull up chat on my phone here. That's what I want. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see here. I want that window. Ooh. Okay, bid 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably 4. Alhambra. Okay. So we have that one, we have that one. Purple is good, so let's take that. Place it. Sure, here seems good. Let's go ahead and pick up a bird and another bird. So many birds. Okay, Azul Duel. This is one where we're looking for lines and filled in jokers. Yeah, and do not score anything if at least one multicolored space is empty. So I need to fill in all the jokers, which is going to be interesting. But this round we're down to bonus chips, so let's grab that. Okay. I guess let's pick up the stray maple leaves. Oh, 10 points for Kitay. 14 point for me. Love that. And a 5-point crib. Not bad. 32 to 32. 2 games, 1 each. 2 cards to Kitay's crib. It's gonna be those 2. What was the moon game? So this, I'm presuming you mean this one, because I'm in the middle of like 4 games of it now. So this is Azul Duel. It's yet another variation on Azul. This time with round chips, and you have to build your own scoring grid. So, for instance, in this game, I score points for a tile on the outer spaces. I score points for the corner tiles, and I score points if I can get all the different colors in a single row. And then I lose points if there's any of these bonus spaces that are not filled in. So each round, this is like the tail end of a round, so there's not any here, but at the start of each round there will be chips in each of these pools, kind of like in normal Azul. And you can pick chips and put them in your spaces here, and then once the spaces are full, again kind of like normal Azul, they'll get moved over into your actual scoring spaces over here. So you have to kind of manipulate things to try to get things to line up how you want so that you can score them in the places that you want. It's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this variant. In fact, I am looking to pick up this variant in real life because I like this quite a lot. Once she's done school, I may have to bully Kara into learning this variant because it is specifically a 2-player 1v1. But I'm very much enjoying it. Good news, Kitsune has noms. Excellent. Yes, this is a reminder. If anybody needs to be grabbing food, please grab food. Okay. And then these little half and half chips are bonus chips. They get gridded out over here, and you can use them kind of as wild cards. So let's grab this one. All right, next. Okay, so this is a little bit earlier in the round. So this game I want to score horizontal lines, vertical lines, or diagonal lines. Okay, so I need a singular gold if possible. A lot of dark blue. And I need to pick up another dome plate. Probably for up here. Let's do this one here. Sure. That'll work. All right, next. Speaking of Azul, it came so close to amazing things in Summer Pavilion, but was off by 1 in so many ways. Oh no. Yeah, sometimes it is like that. Also, I was looking Azul Duel up on like our local game store's website just to like see about the cost and stuff. There are like well, not 6, but like there are like 4 more variations of Azul than I knew about. I'm gonna have to investigate these. I think some of them are just expansions for current Azul. Like I think one of them is an expansion to Summer Pavilion that's just not on BGA yet. But I think another one might be yet another variation. I'm gonna have to investigate these. I like Azul a lot. It is definitely in the running for probably my favorite board game. Which variation? Don't know. Board Game Geek is good for explaining expansions and variants. That's a good idea. I'll have to look them up on Board Game Geek later. Let's go with that. Because I'm not beating a king. Okay. Clans of Caledonia, where I only have a vague idea of what I'm doing. Alright, let's go ahead and fulfill this. That one. do a move. No, I don't have that much heat. Nope, not even close. No. Okay, that's actually not a bad draw. That'll be good. Ooh, right. Okay. I need to go. Yeah. So let's go ahead and take that. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so this one I need specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Having both of those is annoying. Oh, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 though. I love when it just gives me that without having to use my rerolls. It's very nice. 1, 2, 4, 4, 5. Well, see, now I have to chance it and see if I can roll a 3. And I probably can't. Nope. Hey! That doesn't happen very often. Well, I mean, it's a 1 in 6 chance, but it almost never hits the one you want. Better lucky than good. I mean, yeah, not wrong. Aha, a wingspan. And I think turn 2 of 5 in the last round. And I want to lay eggs on things because I think I have enough birds with this kind of nest. I just need to lay a bunch of eggs on them, which it's inconvenient that I don't have any here to like boost that. But I don't think I have any I can easily play either. So we'll just do what we can. Eggy. Okay, so there's already 2 kings on the table, so I'm not going to be able to make a set of kings. So I don't need those in my hand. Unless I get another piece. So let's draw a card. Okay. And then let's discard one of those. Next. Yet another Azul. Okay, so this is last round. Can I get 2 cream? Probably. Let's start with that one. All right, next. I don't think any of these are particularly useful at this moment. Maybe that one. After being played, when you perform an action, the wild tag counts as any tag of your choice. Interesting. All right. One victory point per Jovian tag you have, and that's at the end of the game, so could go ahead and play that. This would raise the temperature. Probably just that. that's not going to help at the moment. No, that's not going to help at the moment either. Honestly, I don't think I need this one. So let's just do that. All right. Sure, let's go here. Ooh. Sure, take my money. Let's draw a clover. That sort of helps. That'll go there. I'm getting close to the end of this Carcassonne. Probably there. All right. A 2. I guess let's put it here. Oh, and a 1. All right, so that goes there. And then the 5, let's put it here. Oh, excellent. Let's do... that one, probably there. Yeah. Everybody else doing their marks. Ooh, okay, excellent. Let's do that. Here, yeah, let's do that. And then that goes, let's do it this direction. Pyramid. Hey, we're doing okay. We're doing okay, and I choose violence. We're doing too good. Needs some fire. Right. Canvas. So I think I need more sunbursts than anything else. And potentially at the same time 2 triangles? Potentially at the same time exactly 1 rainbow. Actually, I think I can do that. I can definitely do the 1 rainbow and the more gears. So let's do that. All right, so I want that on the bottom, then that, and then that. So that gets me the 1 red ribbon and the 1 green ribbon. And then I think if I switch... Oh, I actually get 3 that way. I get the blue ribbon too. For the 2 triangles, but I don't lose the green one. Okay, I was thinking if I got the blue one, I would lose the green one, but okay, excellent. And then background. Everything kind of shows up there. Oh, I like that one though. Yeah, let's go with that. Heightened complexity. The dancer is gonna climb the beanstalk, I guess. Cool. Has a painting. Next. Okay. So we need to, let's do that one. Send this one down 2. This one down 1. Alrighty. Ooh, right, coloretto. I am doing poorly. Right, mountain goats. I am the black goats. I can do, so like the 6 and the 6 I can't do because 12 is outside the bounds of the game. So same with the 11. So I kind of have, but I can do 3. So I can do like a 9, a 5, and a 6. I can do an 8 and 2 6s. Actually, that might be the better. Let's do that. So 8, 6, 6. All right, next. Ooh, boy. Sure, let's do that. Because hopefully the 77 will just slot in there. Potentially after it gets shoved over once and it can slot in there. If I'm lucky. Nope, neither of those are numbers I need. Fingers crossed. Something between a 12 and a 17. Nope, that is not it. However, that is what Kite needs, so Kite will be able to grab that one and end the round, unfortunately. But, is what it is. GG's. Actually, I should. No. All right. So, I have, God, the pop-ups. Come on. I have these to place. I should do that first. So I need a card I don't care about. Let's do that one. Move resources. That goes there. That goes there. You go there. Confirm. So complete that one. And move on the water track, and then complete that one. Move again on the water track and on the grass track, and I get a bonus. I think I want the extra resource slot. Perfect. All right, so you can see here I've now completed both of those landscapes. Hooray. I have the center pink one in play. Let's go ahead and place that as groundwork. So I have the first 2 there. Can I actually, and then that one. So let's rotate that and grab some grass. So again, next turn I can complete those. Have to take new cards to refill my hand, so let's just draw from the deck here. Nope, none of those are what I want. Oh well. Because I need the third... I need the last salmon one. Because I have this one, but again, that's the middle bubble. It's the same landscape as this one here. I need the last bubble. Alright. That was a good turn, though. That was good. Next. Alright. Roll dice. It's fine. Put that there. Alright. So. I have 2 cards in hand. Pay 2 coins to take 5 gardener movements. I don't need to move him that much, though. Or pay 2 coins to place a level 1 and a level 2 plant. That actually would be useful. What if... Move there. And then... Done. Play that. Place those. Oh, I can't actually complete that one. Because that needs 4. And there's only 3 in this row. Okay, let's undo those. Alright, so I don't need to worry about that one. The blue is level 4, right? Squinting. Yes, blue is level 4. So essentially I would need to water that one twice. Probably still useful to place down there. Okay. And then my options for here are moving my money bag 1, which I am blue. 7 coins is not bad. Or 3 coins. Well, yeah, let's go there. Forgot you had stream up, so you came in and saw a board you did not recognize and was very confused. This is a fun game, Kite. You should play it. It's very interesting strategically. I'm gonna have so much money because I don't need this one. I have so much money. Okay. So my options are... Ooh, I could actually just... finish that. Okay, so let's move him here. Put you here. I automatically get 4 points and place this here. Okay. Done. Excellent. We're getting there. Next. Just move more places? I don't need to move more places, though. Okay. Brand new ticket to ride. Let's go ahead and do that. Pixies. So I guess I take that. And... I guess I keep that. Ooh. Yes, please. There we go. Right. This one where that last round of drafting was horse crap. That last round of drafting was all basic cards that give no points. I have so much production, and I had nothing to be able to spend it on. I got nothing in the last round that was really worth points. It was so annoying. Like, look at all this. This is ridiculous. Uh-huh. I don't have anything to use it on, my guy. There we go. I don't know that that was quite enough to win me the game, but still, GG's. That was a good round. I actually had a strategy and stuck to it, and I feel like I did really well that round. I don't usually perform that well on Wonderful World. Yeah, that last round had all of the setup cards and nothing else. Like, good lord, somebody stacked that deck. Somebody shuffled very badly. Okay. Let's score mountains. Ooh, spades. Crud. Alright. What have I got here? Okay, wide open board. So I can pretty much grab anything. Let's grab another blue. Okay, villagers. Right. I am sort of figuring out how this one goes. So I need to grab... I need a milkmaid at some point. Or at least somebody who is a basic. Unlocked by carpenter. We have a carpenter. We do. So let's draw that one. Those grapes look like they escaped Solution 9. Perhaps. Okay, time to Neum. I am not able to Neum very much. Yeah, let's do... and I'm first in turn order, so I won't even be able to draft. But let's do that, because I need to get some of that heat back into my engine. Oh, of course I flip a 1. Gosh darn it. Well, let's immediately pay that heat. Okay, that's better. I'll take it. Discard that. That could have gone better, but that's a decent draw. Okay. Fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Wizard. Let's do that. All right, there we go. We has caught up. While we're here, let me see. Well, I'm sitting with OBS. Output. I may not be able to mess with any of these while I'm live. Audio. So that's input. Hotkeys are not what I need. See, the problem is also that I don't know what a lot of these things mean. No, it's recording, stream delay. Yeah, I don't see anything immediately in OBS's settings about like volume of output or anything like that. Like I have noise gates on things. Okay, wait. What if I go into sound settings specifically? What does that checkbox do? Volume percent. What does that checkbox do? Okay, we're gonna do an experiment. I'm gonna check this box. Oh, okay. It's just how that displays. Interesting. That didn't do anything to the sound, did it? I think it just changed how the numbers are displayed for me. Although I wonder if I then change this number. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna try something. Now, did that do anything? I think it just changed the noise gate I have. So you're probably hearing me louder, but the problem is you're also hearing more traffic noise and more background noise, which is why I had it set where it was. Yeah, the volume percent is a percentage versus decibels. That's what I thought. Yeah, so I changed what percentage my noise gate is at, which would help, but the problem is that would also let through more of the background noise, which is why I had that set where it was in the first place. I don't know if there's a way to make my entire stream louder. Changing the noise gate shouldn't make much difference. I do have a mixer panel. Well, okay, hang on. Give me a second. I know how to do this. I want... Let's just go recursive here. Nope, that's not what I want. I want... It doesn't let me capture actual OBS. It won't let me capture OBS in OBS. Which is weird. It should. Hang on. Screen capture instead of a window capture. I can do that. There we go. Display capture. There we go. Oh, God. Okay, I apologize. However. Good Lord. All right, hang on. I can fix this. Let's just... There we go. Okay. So now you're at least not watching the recursion. Okay. So I do have a mixer panel. Oh yeah, Kara's downstairs laughing at my pain. I think I can... Oh god, no. I clicked it. Can I open this? I mean, I can pull up the advanced properties. Scroll down to mix aux. It looks like it's turned down a bit. Yeah, it is. So I can fully undo the noise gate, which probably does help a bit. But like I said, I had initially turned it down to try to cut down on some of the background traffic that would get through. Oh, it's not a noise gate. That's a gain amplification. That's volume. Okay. Fair enough. Oh, and then I can apply a noise gate, I guess? I sort of know how this works. That is your volume versus the desktop volume. Oh, yes, the desktop audio is currently just the background music, which I can probably also turn up a tiny bit now that I've turned my voice up. Probably not too much, but... Okay, so hopefully that's a little better. Can I then... Oh, I can. Interesting. Oh. Oh, I see. Interesting. Well, I can mess around with that a little bit now that I know it's there. Oh, we're just... Apparently my stream is very quiet for some people, so I was just trying to fix that. And apparently I had just turned my volume down. This is already better? Okay, good. I'm glad we figured that out. Flawless success. Oh yeah, and Kara's cackling over my OBS recursion, because if I close this, I'm screen capturing the entire screen to make it actually show OBS in stream. So Kara just keeps cackling every time that shows up. I am now merely quiet instead of unhearable. Oh, good. That's good. How is the background music in relation to my voice now? Do I need to nudge the background music up a little bit more? Or is it good? Keep in mind, I'm also not usually sitting this close to the microphone. I'm usually a bit... So I'm usually a bit more like this from the microphone. Although, again, this is a good enough microphone. It shouldn't make too much of a difference. I'm usually not super up on it because I'm busy sewing. And the nearest flat surface is several feet away. Background is good. Okay, cool. Interesting. Okay, cool. So we'll go with that. And if in future streams we are hearing too much traffic, I can look at putting a proper noise gate in. Yes. Wonder if I can put a microphone boom arm in my suitcase. I mean, anything is possible. I do own a boom. It's just not... It's for my camera. I have my camera cantilevered over my chair. A noise gate and an expander. Okay. So, hang on. I want that. So I know what those are. I just need to figure out exactly what these mean. I don't. So I would have to like fiddle around with them a little. Probably want the close threshold lower. That does look like it's cutting out a lot of the noise, but still picking up my voice, hopefully. Okay, Dobby, have a great afternoon. Talk to you later. I want the closed threshold to be slightly above, just above road noise, and the open threshold below you talking quietly. So I want both of them to be fairly... oh, I see, 0 decibel. Okay, that's weird. When I move that slider too much in either direction, it completely cuts me off. Okay, -40 and -30. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that works out. Oh. Oh, hooray. That was a fairly loud bus that just went by, and I don't think that got picked up. Nifty. Okay, so hopefully that works well. And it is still picking up my voice, alright? Neat. Okay, cool. So that's at least one thing. Yes, thank you for your help, friends. I think that's all we need to fiddle with for the moment. I think that's all we need to fiddle with for the moment. If anything else comes up or if we need to adjust in the future, we definitely can. Yeah, exactly. Crowdsourcing my audio adjustments. Yes, thank you very much, friends. I am not... we've been over this before. I'm in a weird place where I'm kind of technical, but very not technical in some regards. So I very much appreciate the help and the particular detailed help of the little fiddly bits that I'm not entirely... I know the broad strokes, I don't necessarily know the details. So I thank you very much for that. But yeah, we'll probably call it there for today rather than having me transition back to my sewing chair for just a couple minutes. But yeah, thank you all very much for coming and hanging out and for the audio help and just chilling and vibing. Thank you very much. Thank you so much to my followers, my subscribers, anyone who chats or anyone who just kind of hangs out and lurks around. I hope you appreciate the vibes. But yeah, everybody take it easy. Have a great rest of your day. Go eat something if you need to eat something. Make sure you stay hydrated. And I'll be back at some point. As I was saying at the top of stream, sometime in probably 2 to 3 weeks ish, if I'm guessing, I'm going to be starting up a playthrough of Stardew Valley that's going to be part of a multi-world randomizer with a bunch of friends. So that'll be exciting. I'm planning to stream most, if not all, of that run, so stay tuned for that. But I am going to also be trying to keep up with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon because I've really been enjoying that. So that I should hopefully get back to at some point this week. Is that a Sunday game or a weekday? Probably extra weekday is kind of what I'm planning at the moment. I am still planning to keep Sundays as crafting. But if there's people that really want to watch me play Stardew Valley that aren't available on weekdays, maybe we can alternate. Maybe we can do kind of a half and half. Maybe do a thing where I do my weekly hexagons, but then once I'm done with them, which usually takes about half of stream, instead of transitioning to something else, maybe I boot up Stardew Valley. We could do that as well. But yeah, we can figure it out, because as I was saying, I do want to be playing a fair amount of Stardew Valley so that other people aren't stuck waiting for unlocks that are gated behind my game. So yeah, maybe we do that. Maybe we kind of split our Sunday streams and do a bit of both, because I do also want to keep up with my crafting. That is kind of the point of the streams. We'll figure that out once we get going. We'll just kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. But in the meantime, I should be back at some point this week with Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, hopefully. And then at some point, well, next Sunday with more sewing at the least. But yeah, everybody take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Try to stay as safe as you can in this current day and age. Keep hold of your hope and your light, and we'll all get through this together. So everybody take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the future.